Well, it's January, Nick. Guess what's happening in January?
Puppies. 2023. My wife's going to let me have a cat. Oh, wait, I already have a cat.
What else is happening in January, though? What date? A date that happens once or twice a year that horror fans celebrate, that they cherish, they love, they rush to their TV to put on a certain movie series because this date signifies mass killings and slasher things and all this stuff. Can you guess what that is?
Halloween.
You son of a bitch. Halloween in January?
Yes.
Oh, my God. All right, folks, I thought I would let Nick introduce this, but apparently this went over his head. It is actually a Friday the 13th month in January.
Oh.
That's why we're here to discuss theories.
Then why did I watch all the Halloween movies and prep for today?
I have no idea. The text I sent you clearly indicated that we're doing Friday the 13th all month, and here you are probably watching Rob Zombie's Halloween or some shit like that.
No, I was watching Saturday the 14th.
Mason Voorhees, because he's boring. So. This is right for alley because you love conspiracy theories. You love coming up with the theories. The worst one being that Tremors has something to do with Predator.
No, that's probably the best theory I've ever had.
That's the worst one, I think. But
No, the best one I had is Ghostface being a hitman.
oh, I forgot about that one. That is by far the worst.
No, that's the best.
You can't top that one.
No, no, you're right. I can't.
So what we're doing this month, we're doing a new series, and it's called The Theories of Friday the 13th.
Can we just call it the theories? Because once we're done with Friday the 13th, what, can we not do theories no more?
We can, but it'll be a different timeline depending on what series we're doing. So this month is The Theories of Friday the 13th. Don't make me do that sound effect again, all right? I can only do it twice. The third time, I'm not going to do it. So.
Okay, you're right. Let me do it for you just to help your throat out.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Talks a lot.
Thank you.
Welcome back to The Theories of Friday the 13th.
And you didn't do it right. I mean, if you're going to take over the reins, at least add some oomph to it.
Oh, I got to add oomph? Okay.
Yeah. That is your idea of oomph? Who taught you oomph? What what class did you take?
I lived out in the woods.
Oh, my God.
Three Finger taught me.
I don't even want to know who Three Finger is, all right? Just, anyways. You know, I know you live like in a shack that was similar to the shack that Jason has in Friday the 13th Part 2.
It's more like the shack and cabin in the woods.
Oh, that's a nice
kinda
one.
Deal like Evil Dead, minus the Necronomicon because, you know, my family don't play with horror stuff. We didn't even have a
You're
fucking Ouija
saying
board.
that you're not a Deadite?
Nope.
Only a Deadite would drink as much Mountain Dew as you do.
Oh, come on. Deadites would probably die with the acidity.
That
of
was
these.
clearly a part of the curse, was that you're cursed to drink that much Mountain Dew also.
Well, if it's a curse, I don't want to know what uncursed is.
You don't want the cure.
Nope.
Okay. Well, listen, we're going to go chronological, and that means we're going to start with the first movie. And the biggest theory of the first movie to me is, especially now, by the way, we have this prequel in the works, Crystal Lake, which is going to focus on Pamela because, of course, the world's been asking for more focus on Pamela. But what do we know about Pamela? We know that she's crazy.
Yes. And she's played by Betsy Palmer.
She is.
Or was.
Oh, she lost her head at a certain point. So.
Yeah.
Too bad she lost that fight to Alice. But we're not here to talk about her fight with Alice. We're here to talk about her in part 1 and then Jason in the rest of the movies because in part 2, it's established that Jason is actually alive.
It was another theory by a character in the movie that just happened to be right.
Well, he's either a ghost or he's alive, but he seems like a human being. He's made a shack in the woods. He's hunting people. He runs. He screams in pain when he gets hurt. So he seems like a human being in this movie.
He's hunting people. He's hurting things. The family business.
Well, he's not a predator. It begs the question, if Jason was alive, what the hell was Pamela doing in the first one? She was convinced, supposedly, that her son had drowned and blaming all the camp counselors for that and taking revenge. But if he was alive the whole time, does that make the first movie not make sense anymore?
Getting me the first movie already doesn't make sense if you look at the logistics of Pamela. We find out she's a short woman. Probably a little bit shorter than some of the girls that she ends up killing. Like, let's get with, what was the girls from the first girl's death? Annie?
Annie, yep.
Yeah, let's get to her death. Not only is she killed by man hands, but also this person is so tall, he's out of his head is out of frame.
Yep. And she runs away in a way that she's very scared of the person she's running from.
Right. I'm sorry. If Betsy Palmer was coming after me, I get the feeling all Annie would have had to do is just punch her square in the nose.
Fight back. Once Alice fought back, she chopped off her head. So
Exactly.
Couldn't be that hard. So basically, what we're getting at, folks, is our theory we're going to try to prove or disprove is: was Pamela working with Jason in the first movie? Did she know that Jason was alive? Did Jason know Pamela was alive? Were they working with Crazy Ralph? No, that's not part of the theory. Maybe that should be a future one.
I mean, it could have been working with Crazy Ralph just for the fact that maybe they still didn't want anyone to reopen the camp after what happened to Jason, because Jason did nearly drown. And so...
Maybe, but then they killed him in part 2, and
Well,
that's
that
a betrayal that I don't like.
Well, that was because Pamela's dead. No one can control Jason no more.
Let's go back to the first movie for a second. So we know, as you said, Annie killed by man-hands. We don't really see much of the killer throughout the rest of the movie. We know that when the killer approaches you,
Everyone's
seems like
looking up.
They're looking up and they look scared. And you get the same sound effect in terms of the which is supposed to, I guess, be like kill from mom in the sequels, but that's still there in the first movie. Mm-hmm. So,
and it's definitely
the sound effects that Jason makes in the sequels when he's like in the woods, somebody's making those same sound effects in the first movie.
And it definitely does not sound feminine.
No.
Because Betsy Palmer's voice is definitely not masculine enough to make that kind of sound effect.
Now, it's hard to think of any horportation because if it was like kind of like where it seemed like she was everywhere once, then it makes sense there was a second killer. But for the most part, the kills are not horportation. You could see her actually making her way to each victim.
Now, I do think... So, since, in my opinion, I am convinced that Jason was alive and was helping Pamela. So, my whole thing is actually going over who did what killings.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Annie, we just established, that's definitely Jason.
Yep.
The next kill was off screen. It was probably Jason.
Yep.
I get the feeling that one was Jason. Even though, depending on how he died, we didn't get to see exactly how he died. But depending on how Pamela could have, because Pamela could have done...
All the off-screen deaths could have been either way.
Yeah. Though, again, I feel like for Kevin Bacon's death, that's definitely Jason, because, again, man hands.
Ah.
The hands looked way too big, masculine, and strong to be Betsy Palmer's.
It's probably Tom Savini.
I mean, Tom Savini did kill the girl in part 4, the one with the banana.
I believe it.
I guess.
Well, the thing is, I'm not convinced that they were working together, but my thing is like, what are the odds of Pamela being in the woods that much and not stumbling upon Jason, who has a shack there, and them not interacting? What the movie wants you to believe, I guess, from part 2 is that Jason did stumble upon Pamela at the end as Pamela's getting her head knocked off, because I think Ginny said this, basically, that maybe he saw his mom's head get knocked off, and then he does have her head in the shrine in part 2 where he's talking to the head and stuff. And so, but what are the odds of them not running into each other? She's in the woods and he's in the woods also.
So it's another hard thing about it is, what are the odds of the fact that I guess Jason was just so distraught when he saw his mother's head get lopped off that he didn't automatically go kill Alice?
Yeah. He had an opportunity to kill her right there because she's in the boat, and then she has a little dream sequence, which we really don't know if that was a dream or not at this point.
Honestly, I don't know about you, but if I saw someone lopping my mom's head off, I wouldn't even wait till she's in the boat. I would have just tackled her. She had already dropped the machete at that point.
Well, we know in part 2, when he goes to kill Alice, that's only a few months later.
Was it 6 months later?
Yeah, so he's already a man in part 2. So that means in the first one, he would have been in the woods already as a man.
And if what we're thinking is true, he's already a man because he's clearly killing people.
And by the way, based on his actions part 2, he would have had to have seen her knock Betsy Palmer's head off because he's clearly coming to take revenge on her.
I mean, he even put
he's
the
in the
head
woods.
in the fridge.
He's in the woods. How else would he even know that Alice was the one that did it? So it's like he had to see it. It's not like Jason was reading the newspaper the next day and being like, "Oh, Alice killed my mom." He had to have seen it and then planned it out, basically. So maybe Jason in the woods before his mom died, maybe he wasn't a killer. Maybe he was just like minding his own business in the woods, has his shack, doing his hunting.
Then what's with the man hands? Did Betsy Palmer have shape-shifting abilities?
So for Pamela then, if she knows Jason's alive, she's still mad about the idea that he had to be raised in the woods. She has to have a reason to still go kill the camp counselors. So she's mad that Jason had to grow up and is like a weird person now because of this upbringing.
Well, what actually ended up happening to him, because to be fair, she did say, yes, he drowned, which you can drown, die, and come back from.
Yeah.
So it could be potentially he did die, she brought him back, and then they were taking revenge on the camp.
Now we get into Jason goes to hell. Because the other theory here is that he did drown, but then Betsy got her hands on the old little Necronomicon, and boom, dead-eyed Jason, back from the dead for part 2. I don't necessarily want to believe that.
So I don't think the Necronomicon reverts to parts 1 through 4. Maybe she did say a spell to make him immortal in a sense.
Maybe she tried to bring him back, but didn't know that was successful. So she's still in the impression that he's dead, and that's why she's taking revenge. But maybe the spell did work. Jason did come back, but he stayed on the other side of the lake and just whatever.
No, for me, I kind of like my idea better that when she performed CPR, got the water out of his lungs, got him breathing again, and then they decided then and there to start taking revenge on the camp, so that way no other child can be put in that situation.
So you're going the idea that they did basically plan it out pretty much.
Yes, which could also be why Jason never fully went after kids in part 6. He may have stood over them, but when he had the chance, he never actually killed them.
No, he sees kids as innocent, I think.
So, which, again, is why I believe, him and Pamela agreed to go, well, Marilyn Pamela, he started when he got older, started going after the teens, all the kids that were supposed to be taking over as caretakers of the kids, and then going after them, and anyone as kids were automatically safe.
And we know that basically Jason's such that anything his mom tells him, he'll do.
Yes.
So she could easily have him do his bidding. I always think about the theory of like maybe she doesn't know he's alive, but he knows she's alive, but he doesn't reveal himself to her for some reason. But I don't know if that makes sense either, though.
No, I think it makes more sense for me the other way, because she could still say before he's even revealed that yes, he died, but you don't reveal that I brought him back to life, because a drowning victim can be brought back to life if done quick enough.
So the only thing about them working together is at the end with Alice, Pamela's going at it alone. I guess has she told Jason, hey,
start cleaning up the bodies,
be out there in the woods, be my backup or something? Because we're still going with the idea that Jason had to have seen her head get chopped off. So Pamela's like, hang back, clean up the bodies, do other stuff. I'll take care of her.
I don't think she was alone, though, for one reason. Pamela ain't strong enough to throw a full-grown woman through a damn building like that.
If Jason's there in that capacity, I don't think Alice gets away, though.
No, what I think
it doesn't make sense.
They did that to taunt her, and then Pamela told them, start cleaning up the bodies. Or maybe set it up to where the cops would eventually be able to find them. In the middle of doing that...
Or maybe told him to go back to the shack or something.
And then in the middle of doing that, he sees his mother being beheaded. And then for some unknown reason... he was so distraught that his mother was beheaded, doesn't know what to do now, because his brain's pretty much gone.
Because we have to remember also, one thing is, he actually goes and recovers her head.
Yeah.
Because he has the head in part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere where Alice is on the boat, Jason's actually getting his mom's head and running back to his shack.
Right.
To figure out a game plan, and then he decides, okay, I'm going to go look up her address in the phone book and go kill her in a neighborhood.
Yes.
Damn neighborhood watch.
Even though I don't think
the
attention. Phone book would have it updated by that point, but okay.
Well, and Alice is not even like she's renting a house or something there. She's not even like, how the hell did Jason find her? So, no, but the idea is that, okay. The idea is that from part 2, the theory is that Alice went back to revisit the lake, and from there, Jason follows her back to her house. And that makes sense. So,
but that's why I'm thinking he can't use the phone book because her name wouldn't have been updated in that phone book yet.
No, he follows her. Maybe she goes back there in a car, she drives back, and Jason just runs after her behind. Hey! You killed my mother! Hey! Where are you going? Come back here so I can kill you!
Maybe he smelled her. I mean, but there's also
By the way, the phone book thing, he did call her. Somebody called Alice and prank called her.
well, to be fair, if we go off of your
Jason
theory,
was somewhere on a payphone making this call.
well, if we go off of your theory that maybe Pamela used the Necronomicon to bring him back instead of him being brought back from being drowned, then he could have used whatever powers as a Deadite to be able to follow her that way.
The Necronomicon makes sense in one standpoint. If you think human Jason from 1 through 4 is actually human. If you think he's supernatural, then the Necronomicon makes sense. If you think he's actually human, because he does have some supernatural abilities in those first 4 movies, even though everybody just calls him human Jason.
I mean, to be fair, even those that came back with the Necronomicon were still able to die in Evil Dead, so.
It wouldn't have been a Deadite. It would have been something in the Necronomicon, but not just a Deadite, because the Deadites don't... Jason doesn't act like a Deadite in any of the movies. Well, those, like, they float in the air and, like, you know, yell at you and talk and stuff, so he's not a Deadite.
Well, he's Riri Deadite.
I almost think it's too complicated to introduce the Necronomicon. We almost have to, like, take that out of the theory and just say, okay, she thought he was dead, but she finds out he's not dead, and now they're working together.
Now I'm going with the theory that she saved him and they're working together.
They're definitely working together. So we're on board with that. Because, as you said, there's man hands and there's a lot of physical acts that she's mostly in the Jeep for most of the movie. Whereas maybe he's the one doing all the physical kills and she's riding around the Jeep.
Now, I do believe she could have killed the one girl with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
But then again, also we see his aim with the harpoon gun in part 3.
Yeah. Is Betsy Palmer really going to be that highly trained to break out the bow and arrow?
Yes.
I mean, maybe.
And in that day and age... Yes.
Well,
especially if she was camping, even as a cook, I guarantee you she's been hunting.
So we're in agreement. Our consensus is that they were working together.
Yes.
Jason is there in part 1.
Yes.
We don't see him, but he's there.
But we see his hands.
And we know, we know that he sees her head get chopped off.
Yes.
So he is there factually. It's just a matter of, is he actually helping or is he in the background?
Nah, I think he's helping.
That means Crazy Ralph was right. You're all doomed!
You're doomed.
And you're doomed if you don't leave some comment. No.
And you're doomed if you don't go to Doom Donuts.
Look for Doom Donuts coming to Crystal Lake near you. All right, folks, tell us what you think. Do you think Pamela and Jason are working together? Is it plausible? Do our theories make sense? If not, who cares? Because they're just theories. This stuff can't be proven. This is just what we're thinking.
And remember, Tremors, the graboids, are just pets for the predators.
Ignore what Nick just said. If you enjoyed this video,
as long as Vic refuses to watch the sequels that actually explains what they are, then that's what they're gar.
Watching no damn Shriekers, all right? Now,
for one, they're Shriekers, not Streakers.
Streakers.
What kind of football game have you been to, Mr.
Shriekers, Tremor Strippers. I don't care. Folks, if you like this video, stay tuned this whole month. We're continuing on with the theories of Friday the 13th. And ignore how Nick did that earlier because he messed it up. It's my last time doing it. Coming to you with videos all month. Friday the 13th.
And as remember, you don't have to go home, but you do got to get a nice china cabinet for your house. That is a nice china cabinet.
And you might as well get some Chinese food if you don't have a Chinese cabinet.
I already ate a Chinese, so I'm good.